Hey guys, this is FNGR, and we're back with another 10 brony analyst or reviewers. If I could hijack my own video for a moment, I've noticed a trend over on Toon Critic's channel where a series of analysts or reviewers have switched over to podcasts to share their thoughts on Season 6. And while I haven't gotten a chance to give that a peek, as a fan of the medium and as fun as podcasts are, and I have no doubt that the people in this podcast are more than capable of burning the house down and putting out an amazing product. It's always been my thought that podcasts are a caveat. They're a side dish to the main course. It's an extra step for fans who can't get enough of their favorite content creators, and for me, I find there's a magical amount of time you can spend with said content creator and their videos, and podcasts, by their nature, go over it. Now, you're free to say FNGR you don't know what you're talking about, or more likely FNGR you just don't want the competition. I can tell you right now, Keyframe is an excellent podcaster. Toon Critic is more than capable of running a show. Golden Fox is an excellent podcaster. I've worked with Voice of Reason before, total professional, and Lightning Bliss is more the same with this wouldn't work for that medium is too many cooks spoiling the pot. That pot, instead of being several dishes now, is just one big massive stew. It's more imperative now than ever to help rebuild the community. If I could remind you all that TBBB AP had switched over to this format before ultimately quitting, as you can clearly see they're not floating around in Season 6, and I think it's very reasonable we should all consider to find and support, to share, to find the next wave so that we can make analysis great again. I intend to do one more of these videos before we get to the voting stage, so no, don't vote yet. Next week, I kind of want to do something different besides one of these analysis lists. I'm not sure what that is at this moment, but I've had a couple ideas bouncing around in the old noggin. Take care, and I hope to see you guys soon.
Anyway, while Twilight is trying to plan a friendship lesson for Starlight, the rest of her friends are planning a trip to the Crystal Empire for Cadence and Shining Armor's baby's christening, which can be explained by an ancient future-telling Grecian vase. Okay. Turns out the christening is a ceremony that not only inducts a newborn baby into the Crystal Empire, but it also helps strain the crystal heart so it can safeguard the Empire from an unknown threat. And, coincidentally, Starlight's first friendship lesson resides there in the form of her old friend, Sunburst, which gives her a sense of...
We could also go to Griffinstone. Making friends with a griffin is a challenge all by itself. Or we could tag along with the CMCs the next time they try to help a pony we can't figure out why they're special.
Utter terror. Which actually makes sense. Any negative experience can cause mild to serious consequences in a person's life, and trying to gain closure from said experience can be a scary feeling. Although, I don't know if I can entirely apply that to Starlight, who, because her friend received his cutie mark and moved away...
You blamed cutie marks and stripped a whole village of theirs, and when Twilight and the others stopped you, you went back in time and almost destroyed Equestria.
And thank you, Spike.
Characters do contradict things we already knew about them. So what does this have to do with me getting turned to delicious entree? Because you get more views when you get hot? Well, that's true, but also misplaced anger. Almost enough to make someone turn green and start wrecking things in purple pants. Now, don't take this to mean I'm saying people's opinions are wrong, or I'm the arbiter of how to view an episode. However, a lot of complaints I see against more average episodes often boil down because the character was out of character. And one prime example will be putting your hoof down.
Okay, I know that Angel's not supposed to be the good guy here, but you can't just portray domestic abuse like that and make light of it.
Well, yeah, that's a bad thing too, but not what I'm getting at. Anyone in the fandom can remember Fluttershy in that episode gets power crazy from Iron Willed, a Minotaur motivational speaker who sounds like a reject from the professional wrestling scene. We were one glorious Hulk Hogan away from the spontaneous metamorphosing into the Ultimate Warrior.
It's like she has a lot more time to relax. And I'm not talking about multiple trips to the spa in some desperate attempt to alleviate stress. You know, like she actually slowed down to enjoy the success she earned through her years of hard work by spending more time with her friends and helping them out because, you know, that's in her nature. My point is that it's deeply moving to see a character's arc get fulfilled and actually see them get happier from it instead of seeing their arc get fulfilled and, as a result, gaining an entirely new and potentially worse set of problems. I know you're trying to tell a story and you need conflict for your main character and everything, but at least you allowed Rarity's hard work to pay off for her without changing her in some fundamental way.
That is absolutely no chance of me getting swept into the...
It's episodes like this that make me feel really bad for everyone who stopped watching after season 4. Manhattan Ponies actually react to Pinky. Yeah, as a detail, this adds so much depth to the show. I mean, you think of Pinky as some fourth wall breaking zany antics character.
Never mind her. She's just being Pinkie Pie.
Super extra Pinkie Pie today.
But when you see Ponies actually react to it, it drills in that Ponyville residents are just sort of used to it.
This is a pony that canonically knows the names of every pony in the Crystal Empire. How could she not know of Sunburst, at least by name? This was solidified in the book The Crystal Heart Spell. And before the Flame War mob goes through saying that the book is not recognized canon, especially after this episode, let me explain my reasoning. The Journal of the Two Sisters was written by Amy Keating Rogers and then canonized in a tweet by Megan McCarthy. However, they never made reference to the content of the book specifically in the show. This specific work was deconfirmed thanks to Celestia opening her big yap. The G.M. Barrow novels were written separately before she ever joined the show staff as a writer, and she joined to write the Cadence episode that was the build-up to this premiere in the first place. In addition to that, the book series was directly referenced and canonized in Season 5, Episode 24.
I think Kung Pao, Enter the Fist is one of the greatest, most hilarious movies of all time, and other people seem to think that Seth Rogen is some kind of comedic genius, and them I want to kill mercilessly. This episode works so well. Not only is it, 1, a Rarity episode, 2, it has Pinkie Pie being cute and adorable, which is also a good thing, and it also has Maud in it. A lot of people don't like the character of Maud, but I do. A lot of people are like, oh, well, she's just so boring. She's so uninteresting compared to the rest of the designs, the rest of the characters. Yeah. Well, the thing is, people don't seem to understand that it is her uninterested movement. It is her blank stares that actually add to the comedy. Another thing is that like when the other characters feed off of this, when the other characters react, it is like it's comedic gold. One of my favorite parts was where Maud Pie was interrogating Rarity, and she's all like, "Don't give me that look! Don't give me that look!" And she's like literally just standing there.
A wrestling event watching the mystery mare, who we find out is Cheerilee's twin sister, Cherry Blossom. Being a casual wrestling fan myself, I was curious to see how such an odd scenario could occur combining two of my favorite things. Even more so, we have Cheerilee as the main character. This comic has quite a few interesting nods to the WWE with the overdramatic heelish characters poking fun at the business's kayfabe, and the story even feels like a wrestling storyline as we follow Cheerilee trying to go against the ridiculous odds to win her sister back, who she's had a falling out with. Unfortunately though, that's kind of the main crux of the comic. We discover both sisters don't like each other, and the story mentions Cherry's aggressive personality multiple times, but it never really gives an inciting incident or events in detail when they were fillies that really pinpointed their falling out, so the audience can really gauge the magnitude for the level of their hatred these two have. It could be anything from simple teasing to stealing something from Cheerilee. And this is especially confusing when they go to the tea party the next day, where Cheerilee and Cherry are instantly at their throats, which seems like a complete 180 when at the match the previous night, Cheerilee seemed like she was gonna go reconcile or at least diplomatically talk with her sister right there. As we've seen throughout the series, Cheerilee's personality is one of a calm, collected mare, and even under stressful situations, she still maintains that demeanor. Seeing her lose her cool shows that she does in fact have limits, but is determined to solve any problems regardless, which I like.
No exception. Ingrid Nilsson knocks it out of the park again. Her timing and delivery of all the deadpan humor is pitch perfect, and her outstanding vocal performance allows her stoic and monotonously spoken character to still have a great level of personality. You'd think by now this shtick would start to get tiring, but this time the script does even more with Maud, further exploring her passion and knowledge for rocks and expressing her dedication and love for Pinkie Pie, especially throughout the third act. Seeing the way she treats and cares for her pet rock boulder like it's actually her child is quite sweet to watch as well. It's a brilliant way for the writers to provide something fresh for Maud while always staying true to her charm. Pinkie Pie is also well characterised here, with both the writers and Andrea Littman capturing a strong balance of enthusiasm, panic, and even despair into the script and performance, even if it does have the tendency to be a little over the top at times. Despite the joint focus and efforts from the Pie sisters, amazingly neither of them secure the highlight of the episode. That honour instead goes to Rarity, who although consistently enjoyable in her supporting role, completely steals the show in a single sequence.
That's the more plot line, we have to do actual reviewing. So, the episode was quite good. It was nice to have Maud Pie back in an episode, because Maud Pie's a good side character. She's a good third-tier side character, and I really like her. She's got some finesse to her character that just makes everything better. And her utter loyalty to her sister was amazing at the end. When she asked back for Pinky's party cannon in exchange for the bag, she cared more about her sister's happiness than receiving a present. And it was a lovely, maybe not a friendship lesson, I wouldn't say, but I'd say it was a lovely family tie, I suppose. And the inclusion of Rarity and another boutique. And it was nice to see Manhattan. We haven't seen that much of actual Manhattan. Like, we've seen, like, streets and apartments and stuff, but we haven't really seen some of the more famous sites of Manhattan turned into pony version of Manhattan. So it was pretty interesting to actually see.
Completely straight.
It's funny, first time watching this, I nearly let it off the hook. When you think about it, MLP is still a young show for young children, an audience who I'm willing to bet hasn't seen any sort of film noir. While painfully obvious to adults who have seen more mystery than Scooby-Doo, a little kid probably wouldn't have picked up on the not-so-subtle conventions of film noir that we're used to. Again, I nearly let it off the hook, but thinking back, this episode doesn't have that excuse because we've walked down this line before in Mystery and the Friendship Express, an episode with multiple possible perpetrators and a plot twist that most adult fans didn't see coming.
So comes the next day of training where things are going conveniently fortunate for Miss Dash. Spitfire receives a letter from her supposed sick mother, leaving Dash in her place for the flying show. And of course she's over the moon. But funny enough, even with Rainbow's antics on full display, Rarity ends up stealing the scene just by simply being a supportive friend.
But Legasp, a charlatan is afoot as Spitfire's mom is in tip-top condition at the stadium. Though one has to wonder why Spitfire didn't check on her mom first before going out on this quest. I mean, seriously, how gullible is she?
Well, she believed this.
All of them? I, tripped on a foam hook and landed on a cookie stick.
So the opening to Season 6 might not have been as epic as the others might have been, but nevertheless, we still have 24 more episodes to go, and with the promise from this season to explore new areas of Equestria, I personally cannot wait. So let's start things off with this episode, The Gift of Mod Pie. We begin with Pinkie Pie and Rarity, and right there you have me invested. I can't believe it's taken this long for the two best ponies to get an episode centered around them. Anyway, we learned that Rarity and Pinkie are going to Manhattan for different purposes. Rarity plans to open another shop like in Canterlot, and Pinkie has plans to meet some pony there. I'm guessing it's going to be limestone pie.
You know what that spells?
It spells mod.
Damn it! That was my fifth guess!